What if a simple road trip, just you, your partner, and an unborn child, suddenly turned into a nightmare where faith becomes violence and escape feels impossible? Today's movie takes trusting strangers to a whole new terrifying level. This is Matriarch 2018, and trust me, it gets disturbing fast. Now sit back, relax, and let's dive straight into Matriarch. The movie begins with a married couple on a road trip. The wife, Rachel, is heavily pregnant, and her husband, Matt, is driving. Everything feels calm and normal at first, until they reach a road closure ahead. Matt follows the diversion signs, but he's not fully paying attention. Suddenly, he crashes into a fallen tree blocking the road. The car is badly damaged, and now they're stranded near a forest, far away from any town or traffic. Matt tries calling a tow truck, but there's no signal at all. While looking around, he notices a farmhouse about half a mile away. With no better option, they decide to walk toward it. On the way, they pass a sign warning that the land is private and trespassing is forbidden. They hesitate, but given Rachel's condition, they keep going anyway. Out of nowhere, a man pulls up in a car and angrily confronts them. He demands they leave immediately. Matt explains their situation, but the man doesn't care. Then everything changes when he learns Rachel is pregnant. And when he finds out the baby is supposed to be a boy, his attitude shifts completely. He suddenly becomes friendly and welcoming. The man introduces himself as Bobby. He radios his wife, Agnes, to tell her about the visitors. At first, Agnes refuses to help, but the moment Bobby mentions the unborn baby boy, she becomes excited and insists they bring the couple home. Matt and Rachel explain they only need to borrow a phone, but Bobby happily invites them to stay, explaining that a storm damaged the phone line and they're waiting for repairs. They agree and follow Bobby to the house. As they walk, Rachel notices a strange girl in a black dress staring at her from a distance. At the farmhouse, they're greeted by Agnes and her two sons, Luke and David. Agnes tells her sons to carry the guest bags and leads Rachel and Matt to a bedroom where they'll stay for the night. The couple is shocked by how generous the family is, especially since they only wanted to use a phone. What they don't know is that Agnes is listening to their private conversation from outside the room. Rachel again sees the mysterious girl she spotted earlier, but when she tells Matt, he doesn't see anyone. Later, they join the family for dinner. Rachel notices a photograph on the wall of Agnes and Bobby with the same girl she's been seeing. She asks who the girl is. Agnes explains that the girl is Faith, their youngest child, who isn't joining them for dinner. She also reveals that Faith, Luke, and David were all adopted, since she and Bobby couldn't have children. According to Agnes, this was all part of God's plan. During dinner, Bobby suddenly becomes angry at one of his sons, creating an uncomfortable moment. That night, Rachel tells Matt she feels something is wrong. She hasn't seen Faith in person. The family feels off, and their behavior doesn't sit right with her. She asks Matt to make sure they leave first thing in the morning. They realize someone might be listening outside the door, but when Matt checks, no one is there. Rachel is exhausted, so Matt helps her get some sleep. The next morning, Rachel wakes up to the sound of crying. Matt is gone. She sees Faith crying over to dead bodies and approaching her. Suddenly, Rachel wakes up. It was a dream. Shaken, she tells Matt that Faith is actually Ellie Adams, a missing girl whose entire family vanished months ago and has been all over the news. Rachel believes Agnes and her family killed Ellie's parents. Terrified, Rachel demands they leave immediately. They head downstairs quietly, but the front door is locked. Matt grabs the key from a lockbox, but it slips from his hand and falls to the floor. Bobby appears behind them. Matt tells him they'll continue their journey on foot, but Bobby just stands there silently. When they step outside, Luke and David are already waiting, holding weapons. David attacks Matt and Bobby strikes Rachel. Both of them lose consciousness. Rachel wakes up chained. She asks where Matt is. Agnes calmly tells her Matt is in a better place. Outside, Luke and David strip Matt naked and dig a grave. Instead of killing him, they decide to bury him alive. They throw his cigarettes and lighter into the coffin, saying he might need them when he wakes up. Meanwhile, Rachel goes into labor. Agnes helps deliver the baby. But when the baby is born, it's a girl, not a boy. Agnes takes the baby and leaves Rachel exhausted and restrained. Rachel manages to free her hands, grabs a hanging cross, and pretends everything is fine when Agnes speaks to her. When Rachel attacks Agnes, she's quickly overpowered. Agnes admits she killed Faith's parents in God's name, believing she saved the children from Satan's influence. Rachel is gagged and dragged to a hay shed, where Agnes forcibly pumps her breast milk. Matt wakes up inside the coffin and uses his lighter to see. He realizes he's been buried alive. Using everything he has, he breaks through the coffin and crawls out, completely naked. He stumbles through the forest, eventually finding a waterfall where he cleans himself. He finds a piece of cloth nearby and uses it to cover himself before continuing to search for help. Back at the farm, Rachel tries to escape again but fails. She falls asleep. Someone later brings her food and water. It's Faith or Ellie Adams. Rachel begs her to help free her, but Ellie silently walks away. Matt eventually finds two men camping. He explains everything, but because of his appearance, they think he's drunk and hallucinating. With no other option, Matt fights them, steals their clothes, and forces them to guide him to the highway in exchange for a knife to untie them. Back at the farmhouse, Luke and David visit Agnes and admit they know she wanted a boy. They suggest impregnating Rachel themselves so she can give birth to a boy. Agnes is furious and throws them out. Later, Luke and David go to the hay shed and attempt to assault Rachel. Just in time, Matt arrives and kills both of them with a pipe. Rachel is relieved to see Matt alive. She tells him the baby is a girl, and Matt is genuinely happy. He breaks her chains with the pipe. The noise alerts Bobby. When Rachel and Matt try to escape, Bobby is waiting outside with a gun. Matt shields Rachel and is shot. Bobby then hits Rachel with his rifle, knocking her out. Rachel wakes up restrained again, this time next to Ellie, who is also chained. Back at the house, Agnes applies makeup to Luke and David's bodies, believing they're still alive. Bobby urges her to let them go. They bury Luke and David near 3 tomb crosses. Agnes refuses to leave them and stays behind. Meanwhile, Rachel and Ellie break free, remove their chains, and return to the house to get the baby. Rachel finds her newborn and holds her, relieved. Bobby returns unexpectedly. Rachel and Ellie hide in a closet. Bobby checks on the baby, then leaves to retrieve the breast pump. At the hay shed, he realizes Rachel is gone and grabs his gun. Rachel confronts him and asks to breastfeed the baby directly. Bobby agrees, but Rachel is holding a cloth, not the baby. She suddenly stabs Bobby to death. She calls the police using his phone. Agnes returns and becomes suspicious when she sees the hay shed key still in the lock. She grabs a gun and stalks Rachel from a distance. Rachel and Ellie try to escape in the car but can't find the keys. Agnes confronts Rachel, forcing her out of the car. A gunfight breaks out. Rachel is shot in the arm and leg but refuses to let Agnes take her baby. In the end, Rachel defeats Agnes by repeatedly smashing her head into the ground. Police and ambulances arrive. Agnes, still alive, attempts one last attack but is shot dead by the police. When officers ask about Ellie Adams, Rachel turns around and realizes Ellie is gone. Rachel finally understands the truth. The girl who helped her escape was not Ellie but her ghost. One of the 3 tomb crosses belongs to Ellie Adams, whose real name was Faith Fairburn. Rachel and her baby are taken to the hospital, and the movie ends. And that's Matriarch 2018. A brutal mix of religious fanaticism, survival horror, and a haunting supernatural twist. If you enjoyed this full recap, don't forget to like the video, drop a comment with your thoughts on the ending, and subscribe to Movie Recaps Hub podcast for more movie breakdowns just like this one. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next recap.